Breaking news: Iran reaches advanced uranium enrichment levels, declares Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei. In a declaration that is likely to send shockwaves across the global diplomatic and security landscape, Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has announced that the country has achieved an advanced stage of uranium enrichment. The statement underscores Tehran's determination to pursue its nuclear program despite mounting international pressure, raising alarms in Washington, European capitals, Tel Aviv, and across the Middle East. The announcement. During a televised address to senior officials and clerics, Khamenei revealed that Iran's uranium enrichment program had reached what he described as a high and advanced level. While he did not specify exact percentages or technical details, his statement strongly suggests that Iran has either crossed or is approaching enrichment levels near weapons-grade material, a threshold that has long been a red line for the international community. The Islamic Republic will not be intimidated by threats or sanctions, Khamenei said. Our nuclear program is for the benefit of the Iranian nation, and no power has the right to dictate terms to us. We have now reached advanced levels of enrichment, proving that Iran stands resilient against the enemy's pressure. Background: Uranium enrichment and the JCPOA. Uranium enrichment is central to the controversy surrounding Iran's nuclear program. Under the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, Iran agreed to limit enrichment to 3.67% purity, far below the roughly 90% needed for nuclear weapons. In return, global powers eased economic sanctions. However, the United States' withdrawal from the JCPOA in 2018 under President Donald Trump, followed by the reimposition of harsh sanctions, prompted Iran to gradually abandon its commitments. Over the past several years, Tehran has moved beyond the agreed limit, enriching uranium up to 60%, a technical step away from weapons-grade levels. Khamenei's statement now indicates that Iran may have expanded even further, confirming Western fears that the Islamic Republic is edging closer to acquiring the technical capability to build a nuclear weapon if it chooses. Reactions inside Iran. Iranian officials and state media hailed the announcement as a triumph of scientific and national willpower. The head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization praised local scientists and engineers for their progress despite sanctions, cyberattacks, and political isolation. Parliamentary leaders described the achievement as a national victory, arguing that enrichment advances strengthen Iran's negotiating position. Citizens interviewed by state broadcasters expressed pride in the country's resilience but also voiced concern about potential escalation with the West. The U.S. and Western response. Washington reacted with alarm. A spokesperson for the U.S. State Department said the announcement was deeply concerning and dangerous, warning that further escalation could trigger a strong international response. The world must not allow Iran to reach nuclear weapons capability, the spokesperson said. We will coordinate with our allies and partners to respond appropriately to this provocative announcement. European governments also expressed worry. France, Germany, and the United Kingdom jointly called on Iran to immediately halt its enrichment activities beyond JCPOA limits. Iran's actions threaten not only regional but global security, their statement read. Israel's concerns. Perhaps the strongest reaction came from Israel. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened an emergency meeting with security officials, warning that Iran's announcement represents a grave threat to Israel's existence. Israel will never allow Iran to develop a nuclear weapon. All options are on the table, Netanyahu said, hinting at the possibility of military action. Israeli analysts fear that the new enrichment levels leave Iran only weeks away from breakout capacity, the point at which it could quickly produce a nuclear bomb if it made the political decision to do so. Regional repercussions. Iran's progress has already raised tensions across the Middle East. Gulf Arab states such as Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, longtime rivals of Tehran, view the development with deep suspicion. While these nations did not immediately issue formal responses, regional experts expect heightened diplomatic activity and security coordination with the United States in the coming days. Global implications. The announcement could destabilize not only the Middle East but also global non-proliferation efforts. Experts warn that if Iran edges closer to weapons-grade uranium, other regional powers may feel compelled to pursue their own nuclear programs, triggering an arms race in one of the world's most volatile regions. It also poses a serious challenge to the United Nations and the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, whose inspectors have struggled to gain full access to Iran's facilities in recent years. Russia and China's likely reaction. While Western nations condemned the announcement, Russia and China are likely to take a more cautious stance. Both have maintained closer ties with Tehran in defiance of U.S. sanctions. Moscow has argued that Western policies are to blame for Iran's escalation, while Beijing has deepened its economic and energy cooperation with the Islamic Republic. Experts suggest that Russia and China may use the situation to strengthen their influence in Tehran, further deepening the geopolitical divide over Iran's nuclear future. Possible scenarios. 1. Return to diplomacy. International powers may push urgently for renewed negotiations, though the path is fraught with mistrust. 2. Increased sanctions. The U.S. and its allies could impose even harsher sanctions, though their effectiveness remains uncertain. 3. Military escalation. Israel, or potentially the U.S., might consider military options to halt Iran's nuclear progress. 4. Status quo with rising tensions. Iran continues enrichment while the world remains locked in a stalemate. Expert analysis. Dr. Reza Mahmoudi, a Tehran-based political analyst, said, Khamenei's announcement is designed to project strength, especially at a time when Iran faces economic difficulties and political unrest. But it also risks confrontation with the West and Israel. Meanwhile, an American nuclear policy expert, Dr. Laura Johnson, warned, Iran is closer than ever to the nuclear threshold. If enrichment continues unchecked, the international community could face a crisis similar to, or even more dangerous than, North Korea. Conclusion. The announcement by Ayatollah Khamenei that Iran has reached advanced uranium enrichment levels marks a pivotal moment in international politics. It deepens fears of a nuclear-armed Iran, tests the resolve of Western nations, and risks triggering new instability in the Middle East. Whether this leads to renewed diplomacy, heightened sanctions, or even confrontation remains to be seen. What is clear, however, is that Iran's nuclear program has once again become one of the most urgent and divisive issues on the global stage.